Welcome to the Lachat Quick Chem. This is a machine that uses atomic absorption to measure analytes within an aqueous solution. To create your calibration curve, we're going to be looking at orthophosphates, which is PO4 3-. Good luck.
The check standard. The check standard goes in the glass tube, and we're going to want to fill it about half full. And now we're going to put it in slot number 1.
And these are the calibration standards. And 2 parts per million, 1 part per million, 0.5 parts per million, 0.05 parts per million, 0.025 parts per million, and 0.01 parts per million. They get poured in the S cups back here. It's like you're reading a book. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They're also labeled for you. Number 1, number 2, and so on. You want to fill each one of these starting with number 1, with the higher concentrations to lower concentrations, ending at 7, which should be deionized water, or your blank.
Yeah, so
We'll take this over here. You probably only need this to be a quarter full, if that. You can take small samples. This is the 2 parts per million going in the number 1 S cup. I think it'd be nice to run them all again.
with just
About that
100
standard there. This actually might be a little more than you need, but a good example. Put it back
Yes, that's how we can compare to.
in the 1 slot. Turn on the latchet, locate the power strip located on the shelf here. You say this will light up. It'll beep.
Alright, so you're going to find your hoses that run off the manifold, and they're going to run over what you could call a roller box or a pump. What you'll see is underneath these cartridges is a system of rollers. When these rollers move, they use tension on the hose and it pumps water through. So what we're going to do to put all of these in is you're going to take your first hose and you're going to connect it to a cartridge. They each get their own individual cartridge, and as you can see, this is where the colored points will connect. And you connect and stretch through the cartridge, connecting to the other side. As so. So then you're going to clip them in. You'll hear a clip on both sides. And you'll do this for all of the hoses. Now once all of these are clipped down, we're going to follow our hoses back to the large flask of DI water. You're going to find your hoses out of the water where they should have been dry. You're going to now let them down into the deionized water and then follow it back and push the manual run button. What this is going to do is it's going to take water and it's going to run them through the tubes to clean them. And now we're going to use the tension levers and we're going to tighten them just about 45 degrees just to make sure that the water is pumping. What you'll start to see when you follow the tubes is you'll start to see water that's running through the lines. It may take a little while, but the water will run, and that's what you're going to want to check for.
While the system is rinsing, you can make sure the pumps are working right by checking that fluid is being discharged from each hose located under the sink. Alright, next open Omnion 3.0, located on your screen in the upper left-hand side, right here. Alright. Alright, once it's open, go up. Once the program is open, go up to open and select 160302 P04 Cal. And open it. We'll ask you if you want to change or set the relevant heaters. Select no. This is the calibration curve from the prior.
Just double check that all of your vials, like all of the correct samples are here. These are the ones that you want to run. It should look like that. So after about 3 to 5 minutes, you're going to have seen air bubbles moving through the lines. And I did notice a couple times that the air bubbles weren't moving along quite nicely as I wanted. So I cranked up the dials just a little tighter, and we were able to see those air bubbles move quicker through the line, and that's what we want. So after 3 to 5 minutes of the steady flow, we're going to find our lines. They're all color-coded for the appropriate reagent. And I'm going to find my line. So purple, this is just going to stay in our large flask. Now green, this is our test tube, and this one is connected to the testing arm. And now what you'll find is different labels. And this is going to tell you where these lines belong. So the carrier, this is our yellow line. This is going to move into our farthest reagent, which is just deionized water. It's going to be fully submerged into the solution. Next, we're going to go to our next line, and that is molybdate. This is one of our orange lines, and in the front here it will say ammonium molybdate. Fully submerge your line. And then lastly, we have ascorbic acid, which is going to go into our ascorbic acid bottle. Now let this run for approximately 2 or 3 minutes, and then you'll want to move over to the software. Alright, so now it's been a few minutes. We have all of our samples in their appropriate location, and we know that they're in the appropriate location because on our software, it will tell us what sample cup they belong in. The S stands for the large plastic cups. Once we have all of this in check, we're going to hit start. Now what we're going to see is this arm. It'll reach and touch a sample. It's going to do this series of twice for every sample. At this point, we don't have to do anything but watch and wait.
We figured it out. Heating. Countdown. Alright, this is what a successful calibration curve should look like when you're done. Note that the unknown check standard in row 8 says 1.26, which is okay. It simply has to be within a 10% error. This last one is what it will look like if you run out of sample and you get an air spike. So your end product should not have this row or this spike. This is just an example to show if you don't have enough sample what it will look like.
Alright, so once everything has been run and they're done collecting the samples, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take all of your hoses out and put them back in the DI water, in the large flask. Be sure that all of your hoses are fully submerged. What we're doing now is we're cleaning out the hoses. So you're going to see this change in, right here, there's some air bubbles going through. This is the change in water going through. We're going to do this for about 3 to 5 minutes. To make sure that the hoses are dry, we're going to want to come under here and double check that the lines are no longer dripping. And they're no longer dripping. So that means that we can power down. Alright, before we shut off our equipment, we're going to want to shut off our computer. But first we're going to need to save this. So to save this, we're going to hit run and go down to save as. The format we're going to save this under is the year, the month, then the day with a space. And here we'll put in P04 Cal. And we'll save this. Now we can close out of all of the boxes and out of our software. Do you really want to exit? Yes. Now once this shuts down, we're going to power off our desktop. We can leave this running. Now we're going to want to come over here, and now that everything has been set and cleaned up, we can hit our power switch right back here. And now we're good to go.